So this is the intro portion of the video. Basically, I'm going to be teaching a variety of card tricks using the Si Stebbins Stack or Mnemonica. The reason I'm making this video is because I bought the code by Andy Nyman. It comes with a DVD and a deck of marked cards. There's other YouTube videos out there in which it basically reveals the markings, but it's pretty simple. Basically, there's a marking which tells you what card it is, what card is above it in the stack, and this is actually set up into Mnemonica. If there's at any point words that you don't understand, like Si Stebbins Stack or Mnemonica, or even Mnemonica Miracles or marked cards, then this video is probably not for you, and you should watch a lot more magic videos on YouTube first. But basically, I bought this trick, and it came with this marked deck. And I was like, oh, this is going to be sick. I'm going to be able to do everything Mnemonica can do without having to memorize it. Which is not true. Also, I realized that all the tricks he teaches you on this DVD can in fact be done with a Si Stebbins Stack. And not only that, but that all of the tricks he taught on the DVD are taught on stuff like Scam School and like other reputable magic YouTubers. So there's not really any original amazing tricks here. And also you're paying $40 or something like that, plus $20 refills, because I'm a moron, to get, to do stuff that anyone can do with a Si Stebbins Stack just as easily. So that is what I'm going to be teaching today, is how you can do every single trick taught on this DVD with a Si Stebbins Stack. And I'll also briefly cover how to do it in Mnemonica, as I have now memorized that. So yeah, that was the intro, and let's get started. So for the first trick, he calls it Sniper 1.0, and he goes, hey, we're gonna riffle, say stop. Oh, my lighting is garbage. What the fuck? Anyway, you can remember that card. And then obviously with this marked deck, there's a marking, you read it. But it's incredibly easy to just catch a break, bevel the cards, and as you're bringing them down, you can look at that pip. So this is even like, and this isn't even Si Stebbins, you can just do this with any deck. You see the card, you just do that, and you glance at your cards for a second. You go, oh, that was the 8 of diamonds. So this isn't even special to that marked deck. You can do that with actually any deck. Moving on. So I don't think I went over this in the last part, but for the second trick, it uses the same thing. It's called Sniper 2.0. You riffle, get a pinky break wherever you riffled, and then you bevel, and you're able to look at it. So 7 of diamonds. And for this next trick, basically it's the same exact thing. He riffles, but instead of just telling you the card, he tells you the position the card is in, which is on a marking on his deck. But there's literally a scam stuff. I think it's posted by Scam Nation, called Correctly Predict Any Card's Position in the Deck, which teaches literally this exact trick with the Si Stebbins Stack. So here we go. Do the same thing. You riffle, stop wherever you want. Actually, we're going to go higher just so this doesn't take that long. Riffle, hopefully it's top near the top. What do we got? Or we can look in the camera, but also choose the peak. 4 of hearts. You say you could have picked any of these cards. So just 7 minus 4 is 3, or 4 minus 7 is -3, and then times 4 is 12, and then offset is 2. So that means the 4 of hearts should be at the 10th position. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There you go, 4 of hearts. So and you're able to just tell them 10. So just rewind if you want to learn that trick. Go to the Scam Nation video, and they explain it a lot better. I just briefly used the formula. But yeah, that's the second trick that is taught on YouTube for free using a free any deck of cards. Alright, next trick. So his next trick, Sniper 3.0. Yeah, these are some pretty creative names. He goes through the deck. He's like, oh, say stop whenever you want. He says stop, and obviously you look in the marking. But for this one, wow, we're using a lot of bevels. You just push up that card just a little bit, and you just make sure your head's turned, so it's like, oh, you sure you want that one? Like, just glance at your card, and then I'm looking at the Ace of Clubs. So you do Ace of Clubs -3, and diamonds is above that, so Jack of Diamonds. And yeah, that's Sniper 3.0. It's incredible how simple these are for a $40 trick. Let's keep going. At this point, it's kind of silly to even show you these tricks that they're all so simple, but I guess it perpetuates the point of you can do any of these with Si Stebbins Stack. Or really, also I haven't been including the Mnemonica explanation because it should be pretty obvious if you've actually learned Mnemonica, so I'm just going to keep going with the stack. Anyway, so the next one is called the Dribble Sniper. You dribble, say stop, that's crazy. So clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds, so you do spades, and then I'm looking at the 6 of diamonds right here, you just do the bevel thing. And you can, like, you just peek and then turn your hand back. Like, it's such a quick motion. So you do 6 minus 3, and you get 3 spades. That's a whole nother trick. Alright, moving on. I totally forgot that the Sniper series gets even stupider. This next one is the Fan Sniper. It's like, oh, just put my finger along, stop whenever you want right here. Alright. And then, obviously, with the marked deck, you look at the back of this card, but you just, with the Si Stebbins Stack, or literally any deck, once again, for this one, you can just, like, bring it back and be like, here, remember this card, and then you're picking at the top card, which is the Jack of Clubs in this thing, so minus 3, and then clubs, hearts, spade, diamonds, so you got the 8 of diamonds. There you go, another one in the books, Fan Sniper. This next one is called the Ribbon Spread Performance. And I think he often rationalizes why this is such a great deck when, obviously, I'm making this video to show you can do this with a Si Stebbins Stack or sometimes even a normal deck. Anyway, so this next one will be a prime example of this ribbon spread. He goes, oh, you go through the deck, and you can just look at the markings because they're on, you know, it's a reader. And he's like, you know, if they take it really fast or cover the marking, it's okay because the one below it shows the top one. But you can also just peek for a second. I see the 7 diamonds, minus 3 is 4. Clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds, so it's spade, and you see it's 4 diamonds. It's, you know, a simple peek. That was his ribbon spread. Alright, next. So this next part is called the Homicide Routine. Essentially, he just does, what he does do is he plays it off as like, oh, I didn't mean to do that, that was a mistake, which I really hate when magicians do that. They just do the trick. You don't need to, I get that's a way of manipulation, but you should be good enough, and regardless, here's what it does and how it plays it off. He's like, alright, I'm going to have you cut the cards, take however many you want, and sandwich them in your hand, and he's like, then he turns back around and is like, oh, and so the card you looked at, and they're like, what? Because he never told them. Like, well, this is dumb. But then he's like, oh, it's okay, and then he holds their hand and he tells them how many cards are in it, so obviously he can do that just by looking at the stack, but for this, we learned it in an earlier trick. You bevel the cards. See, that's a 7 of spades, which means hearts, spades, diamonds. So minus 3 is 4. So that means the bottom card they have is the 4 of hearts, and you can play it off as a like skill trick. Be like, all right, let me just try to feel how many cards there are. And then you can peek at the 8 of hearts, and you do 8 minus 4 is 4 times 4 is 16, offset of 1. Once again, explained in that same scam stuff video that I showed before to see how the exact position of the card. So that should be 15 for the 4 hearts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Bam. So this will be in their hand, and he was like, oh, 15, and then he had them deal them out face up, of course, so you don't mess up the stack. And then he had them do it again, and obviously by looking at his markings, he told them the bottom card that they cut to, but obviously you just do the bevel and be like, alright. And you can, if you want to play it off, be like, you know, instead of guessing how many cards, let's do the card you cut to this time, or whatever. But that's 5 of spades minus 3 of hearts, so 2 of hearts, right? Yeah. So, I don't know how, I would never perform this trick and play it that way. I guess if I performed this, I'd do something else. But that's for you guys to decide. I'm already giving you plenty of material. So yeah, that's his homicide routine. Explained. So for this next trick, he takes a deck identical to the one he has. So this is in Mnemonica, but you just make another Si Stebbins Stack deck and make sure the 9 of clubs is on bottom really easy, and then the 2 decks will be in the same order. He presents it, you take one of your decks, give it to the audience like in the box, and you take the other deck and you're just like, here, tell them to stop whenever, you got it, and then you do the peek, and for this point you're gonna see the 7 of hearts, and do the calculation of how far down it is in the deck. So you see, oh, you see the king, and the offset is 3, so 13 minus 7, you get 6, times 4, is 24, offset is 3, so it should be 21. And so then you'll have them take their deck out. This one gets put away, and you're like, all right, just send me your card and deal down to the 21st card. And so you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And 7 hearts. So, and then you'll have them dealing, and they'll be like, all right, so what was your card? 7 hearts. So that was the next trick. I think he calls it double decker or something, but that was actually one of the, I don't think it's that impressive. Like, I don't think that'll wow that many people. But it was one of the only, like, even slightly original ideas. And even that was barely anything special. But so for the next part, he does the same exact thing I showed you last time, where you find the number and then study to deal down to the card. But he adds a thing called a false call, which he has a paper in which it says, which you give them beforehand along with the deck you give them in the Si Stebbins Stack order. And you say, you had this envelope beforehand, and then you read it, and it's like a paper, and it is written out, and you're like, I had a dream last night, we're going to meet, you're going to take this card, or you're going to cut down to this card, and it was going to be the 22nd. And I was like, that's sick. This is actually probably the most I would have paid $10 for a download like that, honestly. But it's just a missed call. On the paper it just says 28, and you just say whatever number it is. If it's 22, you just say, and you dream 28, and you just tilt it towards them. And the 28 or 27 or whatever it is that you wrote down on the card is always, is so small in that note card in the envelope. So you can like cover it easily with your phone when you're kind of showing them. But you just read it and you miss call it and you say it's 22nd, and then they're like, oh, it's 22nd, and you predicted this last night when you had the dream. So yeah, that was the next part. So the next part shows a performance using the double deck with the note card. And one of the subtleties he actually does say in the performance is, well, he always says it's very important you know that you had this envelope before I do this or whatever. But then he also is like, I'll read it to you later, my handwriting is garbage. And I feel like that's a more like saying, you know, you're more connecting with the audience versus I'm going to mess up this trick like I complained about earlier in this video. But then also in this performance, he actually got lucky. He got, I don't know, actually, I don't remember if he dribbled and forced it or if he actually let them pick it and they just happened to pick the number which he wrote on the card, because he had her hold it as he read it. And then it was actually pretty good. It's funny also, all these people are like, oh, the person next to me is in on it. And I'm like, how in so very few situations it would even help. But yeah, so that was the next part. And the false call and the subtlety of like, if you get lucky. Also, if you just wanted to catch a pinky break at the 20 or wherever you wrote the card, and then do the dribble and be like, oh, right there, you got it. You know, to non-magicians, that'd be just as impressive. Also, way more impressive that you had the notepad. So I would definitely do that as a subtlety. Like, this is stuff they should teach on here. Like, this is basic stuff. It's like, unless you're trying to fool a magician, and even so, like, just force a card, like the 28th position, and you got it. Next one, it's called the double thought trick, I guess. To his credit, he's kind of, like, as awkward as magicians generally are, he's pretty average, you know, he doesn't do too bad. Anyway, so for this one, he has them dribble, and then holds up 2 cards for 2 people to memorize, and obviously he can see what card this is and what card the back is. For you, you can have them memorize it, and then as you come back, just peek that card, and so you just know what that card is. So you just peek it as you're closing up, and so you know Queen of Hearts, and then Clubs Hearts, so -3. And then you get the, what was it, 9, right? Yeah, and the clubs. And you close that, and then after that, he has another, well, he's remembering, alright, it's Queen of Hearts, 9 of Clubs. He has another spectator cut and look at the bottom card. And then for that, you have to do the same thing in your head, be like, alright, 6 of spades is what you're peeking, -3 is hearts, hard spades, clubs, hard spades, diamonds, so 3 of hearts. You can be like, alright, here, you keep those. Then you see 6 of hearts, 6 -3. It's 3 times 4 is 12, -1 is 11. So you're just remembering Queen of Hearts, 9 of Clubs, 3 of Hearts, 11. And then you just do whatever he does magical whatever, and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 3 of hearts, along with the 9 of clubs and things. Also, if you want to do this in an impromptu deck, you can, so obviously the second part you can't do, but you can just honestly remember the top and bottom card, Queen of Diamonds, 9 of Spades, whatever, cut, catch the pinky break, do Riffle Force, be like, right there, you got it? Alright. I want you to both remember those cards, Queen of Diamonds, 9 of Spades. So, yeah, that's actually pretty good. You just have to do, obviously it is slightly more work with the Si Stebbins Stack, but the point is you can do every single trick just as impressively with this stack. So yeah, that was double thought. This next section is just tips and tricks, and this is what makes, I was going through this video, I was like, you know, maybe I shouldn't post this on YouTube, but I mean, honestly, that many people watch it. Also, it's going to be such a long video, it's not going to actually expose to like layman or whatever, but he talks a lot about like, it's just so sick, use it, like shuffle it up like a normal deck, play with it, obviously, and then he says, almost word for word, don't worry, you're going to be able to purchase it almost like a normal deck. Not only is a refill of this $15, so half of, I think I said 40, but it's only $30 for the code, not only are they out of stock, and they've been out of stock for years, and I bought this right when it came out, but also, $15 for a refill versus what, $130 if you buy these at Sam's Club or something like actual bikes. Like, I'm sure there's other cheap marked decks out there. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this is a good marked deck. But as a magician, he also says he doesn't know the Tamariz stack, which was what this is in. What type of magician doesn't know that? Like, who's an actual working magician? Like, how am I gonna trust someone with this who doesn't even know, like, one of the most, it's not basic, I understand it's hard to do. No, it's not hard to do, actually. It takes 2 hours with, like, the Rick Flex trainer. But who's not gonna explore for better options and actually want to do the magic, like, tricks like, I don't know, not Sucker Punch, Double Cross by Mark Southworth. They're, like, very impressive tricks. Like, I get why you're buying it. And I, like, you trust this guy. This is just, like, a thing. And I get a lot of magic tricks that are like that, but I just personally feel scammed. Anyway, so like I said, like, refills are $16. Like, that's ridiculous. For this deck, like, he wants you to use. Also, the only other tip he said is, about, like, peaks, and same if you're doing the Si Stebbins, which, once again, you can buy as many as you want, and you do with any deck. It's incredible. They can shuffle it up. It doesn't matter. You can just do an impromptu trick. Anyway, with peaks, though, it is a good tip about, like, hey, you don't want to be, like, if you're doing the peak, you don't want to be like, okay, let me look at my card. If you do have a marked deck, I like to hold it up and be like, you got it? Because then it's at your eye line, and you look, and they're looking at the card, so they're not going to see you looking. Also, for your peak, you can just, like, legit set them upside down, like, if you want. Just be like, in the act of turning it over, you can do that. And there's so many, like, throughout the explanation of all this, a lot of times you have to look at both those cards, peek that card, and don't let them know that, but then as you're turning it over, just, like, give an explanation of, like, let me feel these cards, or you could have picked any card you want. Oh, by the way, these are different cards. There's a million explanations. You just need sometimes they don't think it's weird. So that was for the tips and tricks portion. And yeah, so there's no refills of this. Haven't really ever been. I think there was one time, and I bought another for, oh yeah, because I have two, for $16. And everything you can do with this, you can do with the Si Stebbins Stack. And last part will be final thoughts. Alright, so his final thoughts, and my final thoughts also just about this trick. The production quality is good. It's 311. They make great decks. Good on them. The problem is, like I said, that no one should ever use this. Unless you're like a child, which maybe this is being marketed to. I don't know. You should just do better tricks, which I get it's subjective, but I don't think, if someone uses this and, like, is a working magician, and they're like, heck yeah, I'm gonna pay $15 for this because it's totally worth it for the $10 I get paid at my Chili's gig, go ahead. Anyway, so in his final thoughts, he also says, like, it's so sick, we got it so close to the bicycle back. And, like, yeah, it's made in back. If these were, like, bicycle cards, like, I'm pretty sure Scam Stuff has a, like, ultimate deck, which is, like, $35 or something. And it's marked just in one way that these are. But it's, like, actual bicycle. If this was actual bicycle, like, that would be sick. Made in Back is good. I'm glad it's not some random design. I think it is good that they did push for this. But yeah, so obviously my final thoughts. I'm doing this just because, as a magician, I've been scammed at a lot of tricks, and I'm sure, or not scammed. No, scammed. There's like magic shops I go to, I'll pay $60 or something, and I get that it's because I'm dumb. It's kind of like people who like day trade or invest in like crypto coins that are pushed by random celebrities but are really just scams. Like that's what it is. This trick I'm giving a hard time. There's a lot of other tricks that like, or certain shop like Tannen's in New York City. I bought a trick for $60 and I was like, oh, this is sick. And like I had like 10 minutes to play with it, but in those 10 minutes you can't see all the pitfalls of the trick. I mean, like this, it was more like, oh, I can do everything in Mnemonica with this marked deck. And yeah, there's some cool tricks, but like I said, every single trick can be done with a Si Stebbins Stack, which is look how beat up this is, any deck of cards. Hell, you could be at someone's house, they could give you a deck of cards and be like, oh, you do magic tricks, right? Do some magic tricks, go in a room, set up the Si Stebbins Stack in less than a minute, and then come back and perform this stuff. And like I said, all these tricks, the methods are on Scam School, and this is just performances that you can, obviously, I've easily recreated in less than however long this video is. So yeah, I'm not going to put the Scam School video in the description. I'll read it out again, just because. Correctly predict any card's position in the deck. Scam Nation. Oh, did they change their profile? Is Scam School a thing? I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, so those are my final thoughts. Feel free to comment down below, like, I don't know. Do you think I was right for doing this? Does it even matter? Because no one's going to watch this video, only magicians are. And you can't even buy code refills, so I don't think anyone's going to buy the code anyway. But yeah, so those are my final thoughts. Comment down below, I'll respond to your comments. And let me know what you think about magic in general. I'll make other videos, I'm sure, just to get some of my frustrations with the magic community out there. So yeah, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.